Prince's Risborough, Buckinghamshire. The start of an adventure. It's an interesting name, isn't it? Hicks Lane. Yeah, it's in theme with the walk today, delving back into the distant ancient past. So I was on the train up to Birmingham recently and I saw this wooded ridge from the train. I thought, wow, that looks amazing. Quickly screenshotted it on my phone, checked the map, and that's where I'm going today, via a series of burial mounds. Sleepy mid-morning on a Sunday. A few people are around, heading out on their bikes, going off in their cars. But peaceful out here. A great little footpath beckoning me onwards. So we are right on the edge of the Chiltern's North Ordnance Survey map. And right now we are, where are we? We're here. We just walked through Saunderson on this path here. So what we're going to do is we're going to go down here all the way to Lodge Hill. And there's some Bronze Age and Neolithic burial mounds here, Lodge Hill. And then we're going to work our way up to here, up to Great Bledlow Wood, Hampton Wain Hill. What a great name. This is what I saw from the train. Then we leave the map. I don't actually have an adequate map to take us through to West Wycombe, but I think I can find it. I think it should be alright. Famous last words. I deliberated for some time before finally deciding to come out here today. I thought I might stay somewhere within London. I just needed to push out and do a long walk, and I need to get out. And in my mind, when I looked at London, I thought of London. And sort of London within the M25 seems sort of like small and shriveled like a walnut. I wanted to crack out of the walnut. And although I grew up on the edge of the South Chilterns, just the other side of High Wycombe, I don't really know this area very well at all. Came out here to play sort of sport, you know, football and cricket and stuff, but didn't really do much walking out here, so it's kind of virgin territory to me in a way. Oh, great level crossing. These are a rarity. The train's just gone through here at high speed. Nothing coming, safe to go. And this walk is also described, this delightful little book here, Rambles in Buckinghamshire by Pathfinder. It doesn't have a date on it, but these books tend to be sort of from the first 20 years of the 20th century. One of his books that I have is dates from 1911, so sort of either side of the First World War. I have to say though, the directions in here are very difficult to follow. I just bought it for company really. Wow, okay, so this is the Ridgeway. I walked a short piece of the Ridgeway last year, September, up over Pitstone Hill, up to Ivanhoe Beacon. We're not that far away from there actually. Certainly if you were walking the Ridgeway, it would be on the same day's walk. I will do it one day, just don't know when. was lucky I didn't cross the railway lines whilst talking on the phone. That would have ended badly. So that must be Lodge Hill, a place of really ancient settlement. There are a couple of burial mounds there, and also some evidence of pits and hut circles, ditches. It seems to have been in use from the late Neolithic right through to the Romano-British period. When you look at the Ordnance Survey map, though, for the Ridgeway and the Chilterns, I mean, it is one prehistoric site after another. Burial mounds, earthworks, settlements, hill forts, all the way along. It's astonishing. It's like walking back through time when you walk through here. I really love it. I get a real thrill. So I think this is the first of some wonderful views we're going to get today. Wow, this is a steep climb up Lodge Hill. The views, look. Really stunning. And I'm only about halfway up. I'm not sure if those kind of patches of brambles there are the two burial mounds on this side of Lodge Hill. Apparently they're quite rare forms of, I think they call them bell barrows. I suppose the thing is that the burial mounds are just the obvious physical remains that come down to us, things we can excavate and dig into. They found some beaker burials there, other bits of pottery, but of course this whole area would have been in use. Said in the Ridgeway video I did last year, the Ridgeway is an ancient prehistoric path. We don't even know how old it is really. But it's believed that the Ridgeway and the Icknield Way and the Ridgeway kind of cross over at times, that they go back to the Neolithic. So it looks, according to the map, that there are also two burial mounds in this field here somewhere. Obviously beneath these crops. So another view across the field where there are apparently two burial mounds, two barrows, two tumuli. I could be wrong, my map reading's famously awful. One of the other big appeals of this walk today was the footpath, was not having to navigate so much. I always have to do a bit of navigation, particularly once I walk off the map in about a mile. But you know, I know that the footpaths here are quite well marked, and I could just sort of keep going along them really, as I've done many times. One thing I will say though, if you're looking for solitude, this is the wrong place to come. There's literally been people all the way along. All the way along. More so than when I walk in open spaces in London. You walk across big open spaces in London and there's no one around. Here, somebody every 100 yards. Just interrupting the sheep's morning drink. The Icknield Way and the Ridgeway. The Icknield Way is reckoned to be slightly older, and one theory goes that it would have crossed the land bridge and spread across continental Europe, because of course Britain was once joined to mainland Europe. So up here we have another tumulus, and also that area marked the Cop. You can see there next, just below Hempton Wain Hill, that is also a prehistoric site as well. And then we have another tumulus over here. So again, we are knee deep in the past, journeying back to the Bronze Age. You see, it's not just a walk, this is time travel. This path here coming off the Ridgeway, this little path here, takes you up to the burial mound, to the tumulus. I'm not 100% sure, but I would say that big ridge there, that big mound, that could be the Cop Barrow, a Bronze Age burial mound. It looks like a good candidate, doesn't it? The description says it sits in a clearing in a wood, but that is quite an old description. It was excavated in the late 1930s, 1938 I think. Talking to a fella in the wood, trying to confirm the location of the other burial mound, the Cop Barrow. I'm still not sure if I found it or not. And he said, well, I'll show you a couple of others. I was looking around for them here, and look, here they are. It's just behind me on this bench. I'm not sure if they come out on the video. You can see two tumuli here. And this is probably a better view of the two barrows here. This ridge just above Chinnor. So this is a view from above the Barrows, looking out across a hugely expansive landscape. The other burial mound, the Cop, what we call the Cop Barrow, in the wood back there, that was they think there may have been a crouched female burial there. All they found was a jawbone, but they also found a polished axe head made of Cornish greenstone, and also a spearhead, a metal spearhead. It makes you wonder, who was buried here? Who lived here? What did they think? What did they believe? What did they hope? What did they dream? One thing's for sure though, I think their relationship to this landscape, to the broader community that they felt an allegiance to and a part of, would have been very different to ours. They'd have had an incredibly different world view. You can see the view they would have commanded. Look at that view, it is astonishing. Looking over Chinnor, I think we're looking at west here. It's just unbelievable. So these mounds were placed in a very prominent position, looking out right across the landscape. On the top of this ridge, this chalk ridge. I'm now walking off the map. I have got another map, which I'll show you shortly. And you'll see that it's not going to be a great deal of use. I walked past this and I thought, I've got to come back, I can't ignore that. Yaffle's Haunt. Don't see that every day. And then look, just past it, there's a really old antiquated bus stop. And this bus services High Wycombe to Oxford and Oxford to Wycombe. It's only an hour. Bloody hell. Little bridleway here. Well, bear in mind I haven't got a map, and I'm on one of these roads where the cars zoom along it and there's no footpath. I kind of feel like I have to take it. It's going broadly in the right direction. Broadly, I say. So this is the map that I've got now, apart from my phone, is one of the old 1-inch maps, which is lovely to look at, but it's not a lot of good for finding footpaths and the like. It sort of gives you a broad idea of where things are in relation to each other. And one footpath begets another. Perfect, going the right way, the way I want to go anyway. I kind of gambled a little bit with the food. I was deliberating what to do, and I spoke to an old lady at the station, and she said, "Oh look, there's loads of places to get food up at Chinnor, sort of around the wood." And I went a different way. So apple and a muesli bar, which I've eaten, that could be all I get until I get to West Wycombe. I mean, oh, there's enormous toadstools going on the bottom of that tree. But they would kill me. Poppies on the edge of the cornfield. Really perfectly beautiful thing that is. For a long time I was really quite sort of down on country walking. It's strange, probably because I grew up in an environment very similar to this, not very far away from here in fact. So it didn't really sort of offer me enough sort of excitement. And you know, for all my love of urban walking still, you do need a country walk every now and again. Now, I'll show you something. You see this here, this copsing, these nut stems growing out of the bottom of that tree. This was a kind of classic thing when I was a kid. My dad would be in there with his knife and he'd have some of those down, and he'd make us bows and arrows and swords and spears, and we'd have a great time playing with that stuff. This is what these are for. They're grown to be cut. I think originally to make fences with. There's a vineyard down there, or something you expect to find in the English countryside. I've been told, actually, that the wine from this neck of the woods is actually really nice. I think it's mostly sparkling wine, and very palatable, I'm told. One of my favourite things when I was a teenager was on kind of like dark evenings, school nights when you're bored, you know. I'd get in a car with my dad and he would drive around country lanes, not unlike this one, listening to the John Peel show. It was fantastic. So you can just see the spire of a church, or the tower of a church I should say, poking above the trees there. I just bumped into a lady in the lane and she said, "Do you want to go across that field?" I said, "Well, not sure." So anyway, she owns this field and she said, "You should go and have a look at the church. It's Norman and it has the original wall paintings there, or some wall paintings anyway." And there she is, St. Mary the Virgin, Radnage. The lady said the door is open. It looks a bit foreboding, but it is open. Please open. So these wall paintings here by the west window, apparently these are Elizabethan. These are the most recent of the paintings. Of course, like wall paintings in churches were largely destroyed during the Reformation, but in a lot of cases they were just covered up. And then these were restored in the 1930s. A lot of the times when they were recovered in the Victorian period, they were destroyed either accidentally or on purpose. So it's really amazing to find these restored. because our churches are fairly plain because of the Protestant Reformation. Once upon a time, churches in England were all painted. And the font is believed to be Saxon. It was dug up from a field and replaced in the church. So you can see up there, it says, I believe in the Holy Ghost, the Holy Catholic Church. That's the kind of thing that could have got you burnt at the stake once upon a time. So I think these are the oldest paintings. They date from 1200, which I think is roughly the age of the church. And these figures here apparently date from the mid 13th century. So around sort of 1250-ish. Apparently they show Mary with the angels. Well, that was a bit special, wasn't it? What a treat. It's amazing what comes from just stopping to chat to people. There's a little bit of debate about which path to take, but this feels right to me. And going that way, I could end up going back on myself if I go the wrong way. But here, I don't think I can possibly go the wrong way. Famous last words. What am I saying? Of course I can go the wrong way. You can see that bird there. That's a red kite, bird of prey. They're as common around here as sparrows almost. We have almost too successful breeding programme to bring them back, and now they are everywhere. All over the Chilterns. I mean, I hope my walk is going to take me through that gap there. That's where I've just come from. A little cluster of brown buildings down there, around the edge of this wood. And this is where I've got to go. I just saw a hare skipping through this field here. A really big one as well. What a majestic sight. There we go. Mile and a half to West Wycombe. Hopefully I can get some food. I've not eaten since breakfast on the train. Well, I've had some polos, but that's about it. So there's the famous golden ball at West Wycombe. Can you see it? I'll just put my, there you go. It's just up there. It's got great views of the area from up there. I'll try and find a footpath into that wood so we can approach it through the trees. I think there is a footpath off the road just up here. I thought it was a bit further away actually. There we go, little footpath here. Let's take us up into the wood so we can sneak up on the Mausoleum. So I've done a few walks out to West Wycombe for the Remapping High Wycombe project. I did with my sister Kathy, 2004, 2005. But they necessarily always radiated out from High Wycombe and looped back again. So I never went beyond the Golden Ball there. That was the edge of our territory. Of course, there are all sorts of stories and mythology attached to this location. A lot of them come about from the Dashwood family who built that mausoleum on the hill and still live in West Wycombe House. Big grand stately home down there in West Wycombe. But some of the mythology does predate it. It is a site, again, like many others we've seen today, of great kind of prehistory. There's a camp up there, I think is at least Iron Age, if not Bronze Age. And we'll see that in a minute actually. I'll save the rest of this when we get there. There's also a sign there to the Hellfire Caves. Surely you've heard of the Hellfire Caves. Quite famous. It's just basically a sort of Georgian drinking club where they used to have prostitutes and dinners and get up to all sorts of things. I suppose the thing that made it different was that it was kind of like a Bullingdon Club type thing. They sort of, you know, prime ministers, statesmen, you know, famous writers, the great and the good, used to go there and really let their hair down. And there it is, the Dashwood Mausoleum. Quite grandiose, really, isn't it?
This man is driven. Right now he communicates with headquarters in High Wycombe. His thoughts flash down Dashwood's Avenue and disperse across the Buckinghamshire landscape. This man is a driven man. Stay away.
So here we have the outer bank and ditch of the Iron Age earthwork, which sits next to the Mausoleum. There's the Dashwood Mausoleum there, and here I think is the outer bank and ditch. The church sits inside the old earthwork. You can see that there, but there's quite a steep bank there leading up to the church. You can see a bit better here. And I believe this was the original entrance to the Iron Age earthwork, the hill fort here. Wow, it's a really beautiful church. Some of it dates back to the 15th century. The oldest bit is the tower there. The front bit, the elaborate bit, was built by the Dashwoods in 1763 after they'd come back from a grand tour. It was influenced by various sort of things they'd seen in the classical world. The church warden told me all this, including the temples at Palmyra, which were destroyed by ISIS recently. So the church in West Wycombe influenced by the architecture of Syria. And basically, Wycombe's down there, at the end of that road, the A40, the Oxford Road, the London-Oxford Road. I'm not quite sure yet how I'm going to get into Wycombe, whether I'm going to try and thread my way around the hills, whether I'm just going to road walk it down there. I think I might be a bit done in actually, so I think I might just road walk it. Who knows? Let's have a sandwich first. There it is, the Dashwood Mansion. Down there, West Wycombe House. Quite a grand sort of place, isn't it? And they still live in it. It's owned by the National Trust, but the Dashwood family still live there. Really is a lovely little picturesque village. The whole village is owned by the National Trust. There was a great sweet shop here, you know, you could get loads of you know, sweets by the weight. Sweets in jars, and they had everything. I wonder if that's still there. That'd be good, wouldn't it? As you can probably see, this is one of the older buildings in West Wycombe, coming out to the High Street. I think I might not get any food in West Wycombe. If memory serves me right, they didn't do kind of bar snacks at the George. It's a hotel, just a restaurant. So there's no corner shop, I don't think. Sweet shop shut. I could be surviving on a bag of crisps. Absolutely knackered, but I can't resist having a look at the steam fair. walking 17 miles and not eating since an apple and a muesli bar this morning at midday. 6:30, 7:15, no, God, 7 o'clock, chicken and mushroom slice from the garage. This is it. It's all glamour, this walking business. There are some interesting walks into Wycombe via the hills either side of the valley here. But I'm a bit done in now. I've walked 17 miles. It's basically another 2.5, 3 to the station. So I think I'm just going to walk it along the A40 into Wycombe. Jump on the train back to London. Got a lovely Super 8 film of the walk between here and Wycombe via Desborough Castle. I'll put the link below. I'll stick a little bit of footage in here as well, actually. I did that one winter with my dad, 4th of December 2004.